Over prepping for calls leads to paralysis analysis, and this can be another big cause of cold calling anxiety. So the reality is that you don't actually need to do that much research. Like, even if you're operating in a niche market, you really don't need to be spending more than a couple of minutes making notes. And the longer you do this as well, and the longer you learn your market, you'll know what to look for, you know what key points people are interested in. But actually, for a lot of people, especially those who are making like high volume calls, and that's a lot of recruitment markets, is that you really don't need to be doing 5 minutes of research per call. A lot of the time it is a waste of time. And like, if you spent just 5 minutes per call over the course of just 10 calls that might not even pick up, that's 50 minutes, almost an hour of research, which is crazy. And you'll be far more better off just picking up the phone and dialing. There's ways you can handle like objections around, have you done research into us, have you looked into our website, etc., and I'll cover that in the objection handling module. But the reality is, and I tell you this after making thousands of cold calls across different industries, as well as recruitment in a recruitment agency, is that most people don't care. And even if they do bring it up, they're probably not people you want to work with anyway, because they're probably just asking to be a bit of a dick, and they've probably got a massive ego. So the reality is that you really want to be cutting your research time down as quick as possible, unless, like I said, you're working in a niche market where it's really vital, and the reality is you don't actually have a lot of people to call, so you can justify that research time. But if you're calling 50, 100 people a day trying to get through to people, and you only get through to 5 people out of 100, you definitely don't want to be wasting so much time doing research, because the more research you do and the more time you spend off the phone, a lot of people, they get paralysis analysis, they put it off, and they overdo their research so they don't have to be on the phone and possibly face rejection. One thing that could really help you, which is a bit out of left field, but it's becoming very popular, is having cold baths, like in the morning or in the evening, ideally in the morning. Cold baths suck, and the reason I recommend you get into them, or at least do them occasionally, especially in sales, is because you get that fight or flight before you get in a cold bath. You really don't want to do it, and it's a very similar feeling to picking up or bad to be picking up the phone to like a director and cold calling a director. It's a very, very similar feeling, and you'll discover your own methods. Like, a lot of people do the count to 5 and go, so you literally just count to 5 and just do what you're meant to do, whether that's picking up the phone, jumping in the cold bath, or whatever. But the more you do these types of things over and over and over again, doesn't have to be cold baths, but it's a very easy one to do, is you train that part of your brain, and you can use the methods of getting in stuff like cold baths and transfer them over to stuff like cold calling. And it's all about training that part of your brain, training it like a muscle, and being able to repeat that behavior. You're basically just becoming more resilient, and you're able to control your emotions a lot easier. Preparation as well, so prep your list so you can move between calls as quick as possible. Again, just avoiding paralysis analysis. Ideally, you want to be prepping your list the day before you do your cold call in, so that way you can just bash through as quick as possible. Again, this is a numbers game, largely prospecting, just because you can't control who you're actually going to get hold of, and a lot of the time in a lot of markets, you might not get hold of a very high percentage at all. So the prepping side of things will really help, because after you've got through the first 5 or 10 dials, you'll find your anxiety for cold calling goes down quite a lot, and then after you've had a couple of conversations, you realize, actually this isn't as bad, because most people are like you. Most people are nice, reasonable, and polite people. And to be honest with you, if they're not, again, you probably don't want to be working with them anyway. So, let's say you spoke to someone and they were super rude to you, but they were like, actually, I do want your service. You're probably like, actually, I don't really want to work with you anymore anyway. So it's actually a really good way, if someone is rude to you, to disqualify them and treat them as someone that actually just, we don't want to work with you anyway. So thank God we got you off the CRM. Thank God you're off my prospecting list. So again, it's all about reframing and seeing things as a good thing. But people are genuinely really, really nice people. And at worst, they're just polite and just want to get you off the phone. They might say they're not interested in what you're offering, but it's very, very unlikely that someone's going to shout at you, call you an idiot, how dare you, especially in B2B sales, which is what recruiters are doing. So it's really not something that you should be worrying about, and you'll realize this the more and more you do it. Because results equal confidence, and the more you do it, one of the best ways you can build confidence is results, right? It's how you build, how you realize you're competent in what you do. So taking all these tools and methodologies into your approach will basically help you get through and push through that barrier of doing cold calling and getting over your cold call anxiety. But the reality is that you still need to do the work, and the more you do the work, and the more you get results. So you take your time, actively practice, work on your cold calls, get good at it, try and get really good, really put the energy into improving your skill set, and you will get good at cold calling, you will get good at sales, and then you'll get results, and nothing builds confidence like getting results. And what is actually the worst case scenario? So one of the worst case scenarios really is someone basically telling you to fuck off, right? Or screaming at you. And I've had this happen to me. And I've got to tell you that a CEO told me to fuck off on a cold call. And it was my fault because I wasn't listening to him properly. I was I had commission breath. I was trying to get the meeting no matter what, even though his scenario and his situation wouldn't have allowed that anyway. And he got frustrated with me and he told me to F off. And, it wasn't nice, of course, but it was over very quickly. And to be honest with you, it was actually one of the biggest learning points of my career, because I realized then that my active listening was really poor. And I remember going through it. I had to go through it on a call recording with my manager, and I had to listen to this guy swear at me and tell me I was shit at my job and I was annoying and tell me to F off. And honestly, the fact that I'm talking about it now, it just shows you how much it resonated with me. And that was, it was 7 years ago. So even then, that was probably the worst case scenario. That's what I was always scared of, a CEO telling me to fuck off. And it was actually one of the biggest learning moments of my career. But that is pretty much the worst case scenario. Someone just gets really annoyed with you. And you've got to remember as well that 99% of the time it isn't about you anyway. It's probably about, their cat got run over, someone's been taken to the hospital, they're just having a bad day, their boss has pissed them off. Maybe they're doing cold calling and they've just been told to fuck off. So it's very, very rarely about you anyway. That's what you've got to remember. But I want to end this on just a note that you should get excited about getting good at cold calling. Like, getting good at cold calling and just getting good at sales generally, but getting good at cold calling, it's difficult initially. Most people don't want to do it. Most people are too scared to do it. But if you get good at cold calling, it will be one of the most important skills you learn in your entire life, because being able to pick up the phone, prospect effectively, develop that strong mindset and positive reframing attitude will serve you so well in life. So this is a skill that is really going to help you not only in your career in recruitment, but in all aspects of life. So get excited about it. It's an amazing skill to learn and one of the best skills that you can spend your time learning.